Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm going to do a quick screen share recording of how I pull comps on our local MLS. I'm Jason at Hard Money Bankers. If you don't know, it's definitely something that was requested in our Hard Money Mastermind group, so I figured I might as well do it. There's actually it's been recorded before. Some of them were older ones, but we have a really good one in the members area. If you go under premium members, Hard Money Masterclass videos. If you look under underwriting, I think that's the fourth module, maybe. There's a really good one that I did that's very lengthy. This one I'm going to keep pretty clean and simple of just how I pull local comps here. So definitely check out the members area. That's a good one. So I randomly just came up with an address that's local to our office, and it's on the market. And I looked at a few pictures of it first, just to make sure that it's something that I think investors would buy. So a few things that I do. I like to look at Zillow, Google Street View, and then or Google Maps, and then on our MLS. So I went in Zillow first. Hopefully you can see this on the screen. I'm gonna try to make this a little bit bigger. But I went in Zillow just because I don't really care as much related to what the numbers come up with at Zillow, but I just like to see, if there's pictures on it. Usually the pictures are also going to be in MLS, but I like to see if I like to just pull up data, kind of scroll through things to see if there's anything that kind of, I spend, do a cursory look on Zillow, spend like a minute or something. It's a real good way to just kind of look through stuff, look at some pictures and stuff like that. And, it's nice to see where Zillow's head is on it, but that number is typically not all that accurate. So I'll look at Zillow. I'll also do Google Street View. This one does not have a street view. So what I'll do is typically do overhead view, right? And I'll go this way just to make sure it's not something funky like the house is sitting behind another house or something like that, or potential power lines or highway. This is a great way to kind of get to know the neighborhood in the area to see what you're looking at, to compare apples to apples. Because ideally, if there's enough sample houses kind of right in this particular general area, right, it makes your life easy. That's not always the case, but so I do like to do that to kind of see where it's at. And I know this area, we only lend locally where we know. This is somewhat near our office. So when I jump in MLS here in a second, I'm going to stick to, I don't know if there's a way to kind of highlight this, but if you follow my cursor, my mouse, I'm going to stick to like this area right here. I'm going to start right kind of in this general area and hope that there's enough comps right there. So there's no street view on this. So also, I don't just type it into Google Maps. I actually type it into Google, and I just kind of scroll down real quick as well, just to see if there's anything that, comes up. There could be some judiciary case searches or something that popped up on that address. Usually anything of interest usually pops up on the first page, and it's usually just typically real estate sites that are just aggregating all the data, but just to see if something else pops up of interest. Okay, so let's hop into MLS. The first thing I do is always go, let me make this smaller. Okay, first thing I always do is go into tax record. So I want to get a good understanding of the tax record first, so I understand what I'm comparing it to. Okay, that didn't come up. 9530 gentle. Okay, why is this coming up? Maybe I'm typing something in wrong. Hang on one sec. I'm going to jump in first here. I'm doing this under, I'm going to reverse engineer this. Okay. So let me see why this isn't pulling up a tax record. Oh, maybe I was typing in 9530. So 9350. Let me just double check that again real quick. There we go. I guess I was typing that in wrong. Sorry. Okay. So I'll get rid of this other one up here. Okay. So this is tax record. I click on this and I look at a few things. I look at the square footage. It's 8,008. It's a split foyer. So chances are, okay, so we got that. It's probably not gonna have a basement just because it's a split foyer. You know, you go into the house, one's gonna go up, one's gonna go down. Look at tax assessment. Sometimes I write this down. So it looks like the way that this is set up is they've got 1,080. So I would guess that if you look here and follow my cursor, you're probably going to walk up like a few steps, and that's going to be 1,080 square feet. And then maybe when you walk down, there might be 423 square feet below that is finished. We'll see. Hopefully there's pictures and we can look through it. So, okay. So I'm going to look at that. I'm going to look at tax record, at the taxes. I'm going to see how long it's been on the market for. Looks like this might have just came on today. All right. So nothing really to look at a tax record. I look at sales and mortgages. I like to see what the previous owners bought the properties for, if there's any data that aggregates in here, what their mortgages or things like that. And then this is the last listing, the actual listing of the property. So I think it might actually have gotten listed, today, one day on the market. So I like to look at days on market, scroll through. So, livable house, not a ton of pictures, but obviously, needs some work. There's no deck on the back or anything. This is all original. Most of this stuff's probably going to be these might be some cheapo countertop or cabinets that they put in at some point. Okay. And it's listed at $295. Now keep in mind, we're in the month of March 2022. The real estate market here is still really hot, going into the spring and into the summer. So the market's high. Things are selling at a premium. So we're going to take all that into consideration. I'm just looking at the notes, see if there's anything else funky on it. I like to look at the real estate agents to see if it's a big real estate agent that lists the property. There's a lot of things kind of related to that. Okay, so what I do is let's print this to another screen. All right, so I have the tax record in another screen here, and then I can go back to search. And then I'm going to do a search under map. I do map view. Typically I put the address in, and let's see if I can show you the other view. I'm not actually sure how to do that on here, but do you see, remember when we had Google Street up? I was like, yeah, we want to stay right in this area right here. So we're going to do that. I'm going to actually stay right in, I think these might be townhouses because they're closer together. Oh, no, that's probably single families too. But anyways, so I'm just going to take this, and I think I might have a big enough sample size right here. Now I know the areas, and I'd recommend when you're lending, the areas as well. So I know what school systems these go into, and everything right here is going to the same school system, the school district. So that's obviously important. So there was 10 matches there, and here they're at. Here's our subject property, 295. I have the tax record right here if I need to cross-reference it. Typically on MLS, you can prearrange these any way you want. I like it like this. I like to look at year built, make sure I'm comparing apples to apples. This is a 4-bed, 2-bath. Obviously, it's all detached. So let's look at some like kind properties. So let's just kind of go through these. So this is obviously a bigger unit, kind of colonial with 2-car garage. Nice livable condition, 525. Not really going to take that one into consideration. This one's at 530. It's kind of a little bit bigger unit. Let's try to find something. This one, rancher, I would guess it probably has a similar square footage. Yeah, similar square footage. Let's see if it's got a basement. No, it doesn't have. Interesting, it doesn't have a basement. So it's just 1,300 square foot with no basement. See the condition. Okay, so about 400 for this one. Good livable condition. So I'll keep that one in mind, 400. Here's another one, similar style as our subject property, 1,484 square footage. So 884 above, 600 below. Needs work, but nice livable, 415. I like that one as a potential comp. Here's one, 420. Bigger with a garage. Looks like ours is similar to this. Let's see how they say this is a colonial or a split foyer. This split level, they call this one. Okay. Let me look where this sits in this lot. Okay. My light just turned off. Doesn't think I'm in here. Yeah, nice livable house, 420. And that one's got a garage. This one's 425. Similar style house with a garage. So like we're looking low fours right now. Oh, here's a good similar one, 430. Let's see if this one's renovated. Wait a second. Just scrolling through all these pictures so you can see. Confused about, is that a shed in the back? That's a shed, I guess. Interesting. Okay. So that one's about 430. Nice property. This one's 450. This one's probably renovated. You kind of can tell from the new siding. Let's see. Yeah. Not necessarily fully renovated, but nice, like nice house. Nice house for this particular area. And it's at 450. So I would say 450 is the top. And then this isn't even close. This is 653. That's not even close. So I'll do that. Then sometimes I'll go on map view and try to get like really, really close. So this is the subject property. The closest property that's this. And this one was at 430, which makes sense. That was the one with that little shed in the back. I'm not going to give much value to. Okay. So I think I have a big enough sample size here. I mean, I have in my head that it's going to be in like the lower fours, give or take ARV. That's probably where I'm going to kind of come in at. If we, let me clear this. 350, 337, 395, 395. Let me see real quick. Just want to see if these are houses or townhouses. I think these are all houses. Okay, yeah, these are all smaller, like rancher style houses. Let me look at this one real quick. No, these are this is a townhouse. I thought that would be townhouses. Okay. These all townhouses. Yeah, these are all townhouses. That's why they're cheaper. There's one house there, one house there. Okay. All right, that makes more sense. So, okay. So again, this is just a sample that I pulled of a local property. An investor is gonna, this is on the market for, let's go back, for 295. You know, an investor is probably gonna pay in the low to mid threes in today's environment, which is too high, because they're gonna think they can come up here, fully renovated, sell it for 450. That's what I would guess. Maybe even more. I don't necessarily agree with that. I'm going to come in probably in like the low fours, give or take. I'll probably throw out a quote around 260 minus construction. So I would say, you know, construction's not a ton here, but again, I don't really have many pictures on it, but I don't know. Let's say 40,000 bucks, give or take. So like my ideal loan is going to be 220 towards the purchase money and 40 towards the renovations. I would probably stay around there. 220 towards purchase, 40 towards the renovations. Now, again, I don't quote anything on the fly with people like, oh, how much can you lend me on this? I don't work like that. We do it the opposite. When you send me the address, send me your estimate purchase price and your estimate construction costs. I want to see where their head is. If they say that the construction cost is $5,000 or $10,000 because they just want to like paint or maybe like replace siding and paint it and that's it, you know, I'll take that into consideration. I think a full Mac Daddy renovation on this property actually sells for 450. I think they could probably get high. They might even be able to get higher than that just because where we're in the market right now, you know, we're at a funky spot and stuff's just selling very, very expensive. So they probably can even get more than that at this point, just based on supply and demand kind of going into it. But like, I'm going to base it off of probably 400. So I'd like to be around 260 minus 40, give or take. But again, I want to see what they come in at. If they're telling me they're going to buy it at, like, let's say they get under contract at 200, I'm not lending them that much. I mean, they won't, but I want to make sure they always have at least 20% down plus closing costs, up to 65% of the after repair value, LTV based off the after repair value of my after repair value, not theirs. I'm probably not basing those at 450. Now, let's say we have a really good investor of ours that comes in, done lots of deals for them. They get it under contract at whatever, 350. And they say, hey, I'm buying it at 350. I can get my crews in there, get it done. Let's say 325. I get all my crews in there. I can get it done for $40,000. So they're all in at 365. They think they can sell for 450. The margins are very slim, right? But like, I know a lot of investors that do stuff like that. So so the max loan that I would do for them, in that particular case, I'm not saying I would do this, but the max loan we could potentially do would be, let me see how this backs out. Hold on one sec. Would be about 300, right? That would be 20% down on their purchase price. So it'd be 80% of the purchase price, 100% of their construction costs. Comes out to about 300. Now, 300 is still a little bit higher than 65% of 450, what they believe the after repair value and what could be the after repair value. But like, I would figure out a way to see if it makes sense to do that. I like my 260 minus 40 on this deal. If a good investor comes in and wants to push me to like 270, 280-ish, we'd probably do 280 on that. I don't see us going any higher than that on this particular deal. But, on a 280 deal, chances are they're going to need about 70,000 cash to close either way, right? Because let's say they buy it for, hold on one sec. Let's say they buy it for, let's see, so 280, so 240. So what's that? Is that 20% of 300? Yeah. So let's say they get it under contract for ask. So 300, they put down 20% plus closing costs. So in this case, we would be at 280 total loan. So do the math. Hear me out on this math. 300 plus for purchase, 40 plus for construction. So that's 340 plus in this particular case, 13 and 3 plus closing costs and other stuff. It's another like 4% in costs locally. Let's see. So that'll put them at another, I don't know, 25,000, I would probably say, in closing costs. So that's 365 minus if we did a 280 loan. Is that right? $85,000 cash to close. That seems a little bit high, but that's where it'd be at. Typically these borrowers are bringing 30% to the table. 20% down payment plus another 8% or so in closing costs, fees, and stuff. Closing costs, points, fees, prepaid taxes, insurance, stuff like that. So that's it. Now remember, all borrowers aren't treated alike. This is for a good borrower. We would do this. If it was like a borrower that had like 500 credit, didn't really know what they were doing, our max loan would probably be in like, I don't know, the lower twos, not ideal 260, maybe as high as 280 for a really good borrower. That's just what happens on these. Everyone flips a house. They have different ideas and they'll sell for different prices. That's one thing that, we talk about in the members area a lot. So make sure you circle back in that underwriting module because that's really, really important on these. People sell property for different prices. They have more experience or less experience in the neighborhood. One might have a $10,000 budget. One might have a $50,000 budget. One might know what they're doing. One might not know what they're doing. One might have good credit. One might not have good credit. So lots of things kind of differ. But I would guess based on this deal, it'd be like 260 to 280 minus 40, give or take. Borrower is going to need, 60 grand to 80 grand, I would say. Let me do that math again. So $300,000 plus 40,000 in construction is 340 plus, closing costs of 25,000. Our max loan would be 280. Yeah, so they need about $85,000 cash to close. In that particular case, if we loaned 280 times 30%, yeah, that's 85,000. So it comes right around 30%. So their closing costs would be a little bit less than that. So their cash would probably be 78 to 80. But that's where these deals come in at. So again, there's no algorithm or nothing crazy about doing this. You just, there's no, we don't get appraisals done. You know, we get someone from our office that does inspections for us. If you're newer, get a local real estate agent or somebody who knows the area to help you out with this. There's no need to get an appraisal. I would get a real estate agent or maybe another real estate investor that really knows these areas just to get a second opinion, but also just so you have transparency to your capital investors by putting together some sort of CMA or broker's price opinion to help you, to help you identify the value. That's usually recommended. I talk about that a lot in that underwriting section of that in the premium members section. And I think that's it. Related to it. Hopefully this was helpful, and definitely spend time on your MLS, pulling comps and understanding areas. Again, this is, we've done thousands and thousands and thousands of comps. So, know what's what. Like, this was a good enough sample size in this particular spot. If you're in the city, it might get a little bit more complicated. If you're in a rural area, you might have to go out a little bit further. You got to use kind of your common sense and your past experiences, determine what's the best number for you. And if you're just not comfortable with it, then don't do the deal. If you can't wrap your brain around the number, don't do the deal. And if you're uncertain, lower your LTV. Tell the borrower you only want to lend $200,000 on this property. There's nothing wrong with that as well. Do whatever makes you comfortable, to make it work. All right, guys, take care. Talk to you soon. Thanks.